Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Bhagavad-Padacharyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodayasthititolaya Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibhuda Sura Saukya Dukka Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Vipritam Adiprabhudan Vadan Rasakatavan Bhuvidatpavadam Sarvesvaro Hariditi Pratipatakam Tam Anandatirthamunivayam Namami पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विश्वदावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Welcome friends. Now we are into the Kathopanishad discussions as we are continuing from the last week. So we have seen, two mantras, which we are telling. Yathas, I will say one is, because if you give up all your desires, that is the first one. It was because Yatha sarve pramuchyante kamat ye asya hriti sthitaha. When all the desires fall off, go off from us, or given up totally, then which are in the heart, in the kernel, in the heart of hearts, then the mortal becomes immortal, and he attains the highest. Welcome, madam. He attains the highest possible, because the highest possible happiness which he is entitled to. That's what we have said. One of the things, which is we have seen the last two mantras, which is giving up desires. So desires yata sarve pramucyanti hridayastyo asya grantaya. Knots. The knots is, because again in the last week before last we said there are a lot of knots. The three knots, which is being philosophically referred to as Brahma Granthi, Rudra Granthi, and Vishnu Granthi, they are all the knots. There are three knots. Why there are three knots? Why not four knots? Why two knots? That also will come. We will explain all these things. So these knots, if they are, because untied, so one, it is then, because you becomes totally free, liberated, and all. How these knots happen and how the desires come about, and why the Upanishad is, always being, because trying to tell us, you give up the desire that you will give up the higher type. Now, why should I give up the desire? Because there are so many things available in the world. Still, I have not sort of gone through, so many things which is, which I can, because not able to. I have not tasted so many dishes, which are still available in this world, and I have not taken so many clothes, which is, being still being bandied about, because it is coming about. I have not, but why should I give up the desires? Because they are all available in this world, for you to have the experiences. Why should? Because this is normally the question that will come. This custom, this particular philosophy of, why can't I, because enjoy everything available in the world, is, because already there is a philosophy for that, because that philosophy has been determined, Charavaka philosophy. It is also in the realm of, because it has been propounded by one Brahaspati, because the person who has propounded is not the Brahaspati as we know, because he is that the Guru, which is being referred to as Brahaspati, is another Brahaspati. He has brought about a philosophy which was there, very much time, even before Sankaracharya propounded his Advaita, and even during the time of Buddha, and even before that, even before Christ and all, it was there, because people were just about going about whatever is available in the world, enjoying themselves. They said the body is the be all and end all of it. To take care of the body, you see the bodily comforts, and because if the body is able to get the benefit of, being existing in this world, let it get, because that's all. Afterwards, when the body goes, there is nothing that exists. There is, that philosophy says, because there is nothing soul, you don't have to bother about rebirth and all those things and all. The body has come because it is the process of nature, like everything has come, and then finally it is gone, because why are you worried about it? That was the philosophy obtaining at that point of time. In fact, that was being, even today we have that philosophy, as long as, we don't get into something, because when the reason fails, till such time reason fails, we also go about that, because everything is available, why can't I do that? So it's not something new, which we are trying to invent. It is already there, and it has been examined, it has been analyzed, and it has been gone through by all the philosophers, the great minds. Finally, because what has happened is, when you say, finally, why can't I do it? You do it. But how long you will be able to do it? your body will not be immune, because what you find is a pleasurable one. Your body will not be able to, because you will have the provocation, but the performance will not be there. Your body will not be able to get the benefit of, because the sort of happiness which you are desiring, the body doesn't have the capacity to do that. The body is losing the capacity. And as such, the intention to have, because then bodily requirements also changes, because when you are young, because the bodily requirement was different, and as you grow up, it is different. Now it is different. And as you grow still old, because you are required, because you will just about to stand on its two legs, that itself is a great effort. It's because of so many of, because people after 30, 40 itself, start having it, because 50, 60 and all, you have the knee, just to stand on your two legs is a problem. And then, because to use it and to go about the world, with whatever you want, you still, you've got, that capacity, your capacity is derated. Once the derated capacity is there, you will have to work with that. So is it the purpose? Am I to go on doing it, because till such time the body says, it can't do anything further. That is not the purpose. That is exactly it has been brought about. After all, because once we have to understand that the greatest idea finally will have to come out of the Upanishad is, we are not this body. The body is, because something, which is like, as long as the life force is there, it is a body. Afterwards, it is a cadaver. The chara and achara, what they say, the motion and motionless. We are in motion. That's why, because we are called the life, because we call so and so, talked about it, and so and so is doing great things. So and so got this award, so and so is. But once the life force goes off, it's a cadaver, because that's all, because then you will be in the past tense. So therefore, because once you understand this, because the Charavaka philosophy has not recognized, and it has recognized the body is be all and end all of it. And that has been gone through, and finally, because people have realized it is not the be all and end all of it, because you have also certain capacity of this, with this, through this body, and with your experience, you will be able to find, because something, because which is beyond the bodily sort of a capacity can be there. That is the intuition that comes about. There are certain things, which we can transcend yourself, transcend the body, which is totally, being containing all the organs, and you will also be able to transcend the mind, which is disembodied, but still that is the one, which is propelling you to act into action, everything at all. So how am I to say, because how can you, if that is the case, why people in the world, because they have not, talked about it so elaborately and every day, because then you should not be able to enjoy the world at any point of time. It is not the question. The question is, when you are trying to experience the world and when you are going about that, this is a means, but this is not an end. When you are getting the experience, the world is the means, the body is the means by which, once you are able to get that, and once you know that, because if it goes on, because clinging on to some of the sources of experience, which has given some momentary pleasure, then you will be missing out, because what are all the other things, you can, because you've got certain things higher to enjoy and higher to experience, because you will be missing out that. It is bringing about, because for your own benefit, for our own benefit, okay, you have the world and have use it as a means, but don't take it as an end, as Charavaka philosophy has taken. That is exactly has been brought up. In fact, because that's why, because in all things, afterwards, everything has been achieved and all, and perhaps, because the higher, the most, the wisest mind in the world, has come about, and Einstein has said, I don't claim anything. I don't claim credit for anything. Everything has got a beginning and an end, which is determined by the forces which are not under our control. That's what he has said. That's why, he said, because knowing that, once he has understood, whatever comes about, whatever experience you get, whatever, you are seeing in this world, whatever we have seen, because the comforts and the equipments were available 40 years before, we have got far sort of improved versions of the equipment and the facilities available now, which we would not have thought of in our younger days. Those things are available. The things are changing, because there was a, they whatever we experienced in our younger days, because they have all ended. Now the new thing have come. This will also end. Something new will come. So they will all go on, because but to experience whatever comes about you, to take it, you don't cling on it, because this is not going to be the be all and end all of it. So once you have understood, that is the highest happiness. Once, because supposing, you get the highest Nobel Prize and all, if someone thinks, I will have to get still better something and all, that is not the purpose of it. Once you enjoy the exploration of whatever you are determined to do, and whatever, you are trying to find, when you are trying to find the facts, and because the facts behind that and truth behind that, and you are trying to understand the phenomena or the process, that is a journey. There is no end to it. This is exactly it brings about, because when you are using your body and the mind as a means to experience the world, go about it and all, don't cling on to certain experiences, and you go about it, you are in the flow. When you are in the flow, you will be enjoying, because you will be seeing in the hills, and finally you will be coming down the meadows, and finally you will be getting across to join the ocean. Enjoy the journey. Don't, because you will suffocate yourself into this. This is exactly has been brought about. Yata sarve prabudyanti hridaye sthiti grantaya. Three knots we said, because it is Brahma Granthi, Rudra Granthi, and Vishnu Granthi. What are all these three Granthis and all? Because this will be explained in the next mantra, because in more detail. But for the benefit of our understanding, we have got lot of nadis, because a lot of nerve nodes in the body. But then, finally, the 101 nerve nodes, the pathways, they are supposed to be important. That 101 nerves, because they are also being divided into three categories. One is Ida, and another is Pingala, and another is Sushmana. Ida is the one, because with the left side, with the inhalation of the air which has go through the nostrils, that side, because that is called Ida. That Ida, because that is where, it gives, the soft nature, and, because it trying about, because trying to analyze and find and go about smoothen, and, because it gives you, because all the sort of soft qualities, because like it is normally being termed as the feminine qualities. In the sense, you are not aggressive. And the Pingala is the one, which is action oriented. You want to act, you want to achieve, you want to create a goal, you want to fight a war, you want to win it, because as it is happening at all, when the where Pingala is being activated, because they are the one, who are doing it and all. As we have seen by all the neuroscientists and all, we are not able to use the both sides of the brain effectively, because we are using only one side of the brain. The left side of the brain is not being used as effectively as possible, and because that's what they are telling. Some people, have the right side of the brain working, because aggressively, because they are doing it, and the left side of the brain has not been taken into account. But people who are balanced, finally they said, in the left and right side of the brains are working, you become very balanced, in the sense you will not be jumping into action. Whatever you will be taking action. You will not be procrastinating. You will still be acting, but whatever you will be acting will be thought out action. It will not be on impulsive action. It will not be an instinctive action. This is Hridayasthiti Grantaya. They say untie all the knots. What is that? Because that is why, because how, this Ida, Pingala, and all in the Ida knots, because which gives you, always the safety, defense, security, comfort, and all. So once your safety, security, comfort becomes, your sort of utmost part of your attitude, because of the personality, you will only be cocooned. You will not be taking any sort of a so you will not be taking any risk. You will not be taking any even sort of, you will not be trying to face, even the minor sort of vicissitudes that comes about your life. Even some small obstruction will appears to be some sort of a huge one, because you will not be able to encounter that. Whereas the Pingala is the one on the aggressive side. Come what may, because even with thoughtless, sometimes you will be working on thoughtless, instinctively, impulsive, you will go about it. And but you will not be keeping quiet. You will be very aggressive. And the one great thing is, you will not be, whether right or wrong, whatever be the results, you won't be bothered. You will just jump into the thing, and finally you will. Finally, both of them will have to come through, and finally you will have to balanced. When the Ida and Pingala is balanced, what happens is, you at any point of time, you will not be reacting at all. You will be very balanced. You will be sort of trying to see, what is the best course available to you in front of you. You will just be only focusing on going into it. Finally, it says in the Ida Pingala, and both of them are balanced. Finally, this Sushmana, the Kundalini that is being raised about it. What happens is, because where the forces come up, because they are going down. Whereas when you are trying to bring all these forces into the Pingala forces, they are going down, through your body and nerve nodes. Finally, you are able to channelize through Muladhara chakra, and finally it is coming through your, the chakras, because the representative, it is figurative, because it's all the pranamaya kosha. They are not in the sthulamaya kosha. There, once it comes, when you are able to focus it and bring it about, then it gives you the balance. And the blockages of all the chakras are Muladhara, and then, because then you have got Swadhisthana. And from there, because it finally goes up, because it goes to the heart chakra and throat chakra, Ajna chakra, and finally the Sahasrara. Because Sahasrara is the one finally connected to the Sushmana Nadi. Why? Because the Kundalini are all being talked about. Because when Ida and Pingala, they are working, when you are all working on all the security and securitized comfort zone and the active zone, and when we are doing it, we are totally in confrontation. There is a fight going on inside us. We have got our own, because the battles to be won, in within ourselves. But once you are balanced, you are so balanced, finally you are able to focus and you seek your potential full energy and achieve the best possible for your meant for, in this world, and you will be able to achieve that by bringing together all these things and slowly be rising above. And when you are able to have that, the bliss with which, you are able to achieve the things is beyond, because the imagination. That is some reward what you are going to get out of this. That is, because that's what all the great, because it's only microscopic minority in the world who have achieved that. That is the great acharyas, the great saints, like whether it is Jesus or anyone else, all of them have achieved that, because they are able to finally get everything, because to that common denominator, and the Sushmana Nadi has been brought up. It is one of the things, that's why, Vishnu Sahasranamam is always being, because told, you should always recite every day and all the sense. Vishnu Sahasranamam has got, because it is nothing but a condensed version of, well, it's a Brihat Samhita. Brihat Samhita is the greatest Samhita. It has got 36,000, because elsewhere we have covered 36,000, because verses are there, 36,000 Vyanjana, because each verse has got a Vyanjana, and because that is 36,000 plus 36,000, 72,000 sort of verses are there in the Pramana. But that is, it's not possible for a human being to, only those who have, gone through, they will be able to get the Brihat Samhita to the core and get the benefit of it. Finally, in the Bhishma, in the, in the sort of Shanti Parva, Anushasana Parva of Mahabharata, he recited that Vishnu Sahasranama, it is a condensed version of a Brihat Samhita. Why this 36,000 matters is that is 36,000 notes of Ida and 36,000 notes of Pingala. And all the 72,000 is energized, and once it's being focused, and finally when you are able to take it up urdhva, when it goes up through you, through the Kundalini, creates the block, you get fully, because clear, you are totally cleared off, you become totally sanitized, you become such a highest being, because all you think, all you tell is, only the benefit of the you and the benefit of the mankind, and you have got nothing else, and then you will only be going about what is in front of you. You don't have any interest whatsoever, in your own benefit, or nor, you are looking for any happiness or sorrow or anything like that. You become so balanced. So finally, when it comes, finally, when you are able to bring about, and that particular process, when it goes through the Sahasrara, and then it is said, in our scriptures, there is no rebirth when finally you are able to bring everything together and through Sahasrara, because you are able to realize yourself. And finally, when the life leaves through the Sahasrara, then there is no question of rebirth. Supposing, we are so much engaged in activity and security and all, because I am under pressure, because I have got, because always defensive in my approach, and as otherwise I'm so aggressive in my approach, whatever it is there. When the life is leaving, because in the it doesn't, we are not able to focus and bring it to that Sagatrara, then the question is, because then you will have to be, the birth has to take place, as Einstein has said, the birth and death is now out of our control, the forces beyond our control. That becomes, because we are leaving it to the forces beyond our control. Once you are able to bring it to the control, that is what, the Kundalini is being talked about. Because this entire last portion of this entire Upanishad is talking about the yoga and the highest possible attainment of the samadhi, because which is the state, in which we are all destined to be there, because finally when we get the liberation. Samadhi is not that, because it will have to be perforce do it, because that is the final one, the gift of the God that will come about. How to get the gift of the God which you are entitled to, which is your birthright, that is being brought about in this. So when he says, because once it is there, and as Einstein has said, Yatha sarve prabhujyanti hridayasne asya grantayaha. When you are able to tie all these knots, because when we said 72,000, 36,000, 36,000 nodes, because they are all untied, they are cleared. The knots are removed, and all finally, because you are able to achieve that, and then you are getting it, and then at that point of time, when you are don't have any desires, left and all, because finally, you are into, you understood, you are just focusing on what is available, and you are balanced, and nothing is affecting you, the happiness, sorrow, or even the great catastrophe, nothing is affecting you, become so balanced, sita prajna, once it happens in. So what is the purpose of that? This last verse said, Yetatvai Anushashanam. This alone is the teaching. Forget about, because there's so many takeaways. This alone is the teaching. Once you are able to get that, because desirelessness is a word, that's being used, to as if, we have got something in our kitty and we have to give it up. It's not like that. Desire comes, because without your being intervention, it goes without your intervention. And if you allow it to come and go and allow the flow to go through you, and then you get the liberation. That's what it says. Don't hold on to that. Supposing, because in the river goes, because there are some gutters are being left into the river, and then in the river just takes it, and put it aside, elsewhere and goes off. And, it's not bothered about, it's not holding on to the gutters that is coming about. Because now, of course, the processing is there, because all the STP plants are being put in, because they are all being removed. Finally, only the good water is being sent in. Otherwise, we would not have had the polluted rivers. Now all the rivers are polluted. They are all holding on to all the sort of dirty things that has come about. We have made it like that. They were never so, because we never, because dirtied the river as we have been. We are not letting so many things into the river, because even 100 years before. But we have done everything, and finally we are facing the fact that it is like that. The mind is also like that. If you allow, all those things come and clog, finally it is that. Don't allow yourself. You are set a pure Ganges. You are flowing. You are from the mountain of, the source from where you have come, and you will have to enjoy the world. Why do you allow that, to be contaminated and all? That's what exactly this brought about. So the Kritaya Grantha, because when you have to remove the knot, the process is sadhana that we talk about, and the Guru will be able to find out and give it. And, because he will give you the ability to reflect, because refine your thoughts. Finally, because the process has to be done by you. He shows that he's a guide. Finally, he brings about. That's what we have seen. This is exactly his part about. Coming up to this, that is why we also said last week, if Hridaya Granthi, because like the knots, if it has to be removed, we have talked about, we know about a guardian knot, which we discussed last week also. Guardian was an emperor. Guardian was a king, because he has tied a knot, and he asked anyone, who can come and, open the knot, because everyone tried, they couldn't, but Alexander the Great came, and, because they sent an arrow and just took the knot asunder, because he just destroyed the knot. But it's okay, he has done it, physically, but the philosophically, figuratively, you can't do, because all your knots are so complicated. You have complicated yourself with the desires and the consequences and the desire after desires. If it happens, this is what I want. Because so many relationship, wealth, as well as your own personal, the growth. You've got so many knots. All the three knots, which are there. If you do it, because all of a sudden, look, okay, I am giving it up and like that and all, it may be having a negative impact. You may be so imbalanced, beyond your redemption, you will not be. That's why, because never, the Upanishad advises that you take a guru and all, the guru will slowly help you to remove, yeah, sort of a one by one, because the knots will be taken off, because finally, you will be untied and the knots will be out and finally you will be cleared. That's why, because the sadhana, it is a slow and steady process. That means that is how, the life has to be taken. Focus only on the thing in front of you, the thing you have to do it in front of you. Forget about all other things. Don't get, into the sort of other, because of the things which you do. Don't be opinionated. Don't be bothered about look into other things. Focus on that, and wherever possible, you try to give your, because help or your good words. Go about it. That is the life. The dispense in the goodness in you, and go about mindfully. What is in front of you. That is what the life, which then you will be able to get. Because this is what has been talked about. We are into the next mantra, the most important mantra, the nerve nodes which you talked about. It is coming about the nerves of the heart. It is in page number 139. Shatam cha ekacha hridayastha nadhya. 101 number of, the nerve nodes, the pathways or the channels of the heart. They are very important. That has been. There are so many, but finally the 101 are the important ones. The 101, 101, so important, because that's how, because they consider the even the Ida Pingala is 72,000, 72,000, it's 36,000, 36,000, it is 72,000 notes. And finally, they all culminate, into the one force, from energy can be taken out from Muladhara to your Sahasrara. So that is, because the Kundalini pathway we talked about. Here, that same 101 nodes, which we talked about, and the 101 nodes, of which the one important node is the Sushmana. Sushmana, through which finally, because 50-50, and finally they have to come out. Because that is what exactly it's been talked about. Ta astam murdhanam, or the channels of the heart of them towards the crown of the head. Murdana, because Sahasrara, it is just about Ashtadesha Dashangulam, just about 6 inches above. 6 inches is your one small, because the line on your finger that is supposed to be 1 inch for you. The 6 inches above that, in the top of the head, because that is Sahasrara. The chakra is there, not in the body, it is above. Because through that only the life forces come into the mother's womb. Finally, it will have to go out that. So that is exactly the one, which is Bhagavan. Tasmat Murdhanam. Abhinihi sthita ekaha passes through one of them. That is the Sushmana nad. That is the only through it. Taya urdhvam ayan amrtatvam yeti. Going up through this channel, finally you get the liberation. If it goes through some other way, because if it doesn't, if you are not able to focus, finally the energy and towards, they bring it towards your Kundalini and pass through all the chakras, and they're all the blocks are cleared, and finally good, there is no rebirth. If it goes any other way, there will be a rebirth. That is what, any other way being, in the sense, if it is not, you are not able to focus, because some people say, his life, left through the eyes, it left through the mouth, it left through the ears, and all those things they say. Because these are all only figurative, because what you find, because in the body. But it may not be. Finally, because it would have tried to go through, some other means, it would not have ended. Finally, it would have gone, because the life force would have gone, but finally, the force, as it has come through Sahasrara, it would have gone through Sahasrara. But the full energized force, if it goes through Sahasrara, then there is a limit. If it is not, because finally, the rebirth is there. That is sort of a figurative intonation in philosophy, in the sense that shows, that you give up everything, you be sort of a balanced into any circumstances, since you don't have any desires, nor you have got anything, because that the deficiencies which you consider to be a sorrow and all, you are so equanimity, personified, there is nothing that is going to affect you, then that is the liberation. Same thing as Einstein has said, because there is nothing called, because I don't claim anything, because everything has got an birth, and everything has got a death. and it's all the forces beyond our control. That's what he has said. And because he has said, after realizing everything and after achieving the greatness, in the world, whatever is possible but a human being to achieve, having done, because he was only being said, because I only enjoyed, the path of discovery, the process of finding out the truth and establishing the facts behind the truth. That is what finally, once we are also into that, within our own limited version, within our own limited way, what we find, what we have come here for, what we are, once you are having, you become a dispassionate about it. You may have possessions, but you will not be possessive about it. So once you are not possessive about it, your possession will automatically work for you. Your possession of relationship will automatically be working, because they in their own way, and you will not be affected by that. So even if you have a wealth, the wealth will be sort of working for itself, because there's some foundations will be there, or even otherwise the wealth itself will be, it will be in circulation, it will be in motion, it will not be stagnated. So this is exactly they have brought about. And Vishwa Anya Utkramanena Bhavanti. Others have different direction. Utkramanena Bhavanti, because they are all going in, because then, because the question of, your unfulfilled desires, unfulfilled ambitions, and then, because unfulfilled sort of, even, I wanted to experience, how that, is going to affect me. Even some people are, wondering, why can't I, because try to experience that, even though, it is not a pleasurable one, because it may come, because just out of curiosity, just out of, you want to see, what it is and all. So likewise, something is left in us will automatically bring us back. So likewise, because when we see in a factory, when everything is being produced and the all the sort of a wastage is reduced to the very bare minimum, you finally get the end product, because which is so good, and your production is so efficient, the wastage is finally being taken out, and the waste material is again being reused. Again, you melt it again, or because you just take it to, where you can take out, all the required materials, and they take the things out, and finally you can again put it on reclaiming the material back again, because that you can do it, because it's like a process. Like we have got several births, and each birth, because we will have to refine ourselves, and whatever wastage, because this type of unwanted things have come, so then they will be, we will have to refine it again. It goes on, like that. Once you go, then you attain a stage, where there is nothing is going to, and at that point of time, when you finally get into the stage, no one has to tell you. You yourself will know you are not the body. The very purpose of philosophy, and any philosophy in Upanishads is understand, or any other gospel, is that you are not the body. Since you are clinging on, we are all clinging on to this body, and because associated, the pleasures and the pains, then we are considering, because this is what the experience, this is what I am, we are limiting ourselves. Once we transcend, once we do that, certainly we look after the body, because it is a means. Unless the machine is there, you will not be able to process. No, you will not be able to process the material. So therefore, because you will have to keep it in good as long as possible. But it has got the date also. It is dated to, because everything has gotten being produced, because it can work for 50 hours, because the machine can work for 100,000 operations, 500,000 operations. Afterwards, it goes off. Likewise, all our breath has been sort of calibrated. But if on our sort of urgency, if we waste our breath as much as possible during the lifetime, then there is naturally the lifetime has to adjust itself. And if you are able to maintain, because you are able to effectively use, because the breath so much, because that's why the pranayama that's being talked about, if the pranayama is being properly being practiced, and anybody is there and all, because you can comfortably, because without any pain, or without any discomfort to the body, and as you will be able to perform as much as possible with the capacity of the body at any point of time. That is what finally, because we require, that will be brought about. All these things have been brought about, here. Basically, they bring into beyond, the physical aspect of it, because when it's basically considered to be a yoga Upanishad, this part of it, how the yogic practice is nothing but a meditative practices. What is the meditative practices? Meditative practices, you are able to reflect into yourself. You are able to see yourself. You are able to give some time to yourself, valuable time to yourself. When you are closing the eyes, because you are just keeping the world out. And when you are only observing the breath, because then you are able to see the life force that is coming in and going out and keep you active. And once that process, what happens, because the thoughts that slowly pummel you, because they all slowly sort of a decelerate, and they slowly becomes, because thoughts may not be there, but they may coming and going, but your attention will not go to the thoughts. You will just, it's not that thoughtless stage, because it's like thoughtless stage, it's not a vacuum. It's, because as long as human beings are there, even if you are closing your eyes, some sound is there, because that will also create a thought. And even if darkness is there, darkness will also create a thought, because so many things, will be thinking depending upon the your because attitude and mindset at that point of time, so many things will come. But once you start, because once observing something, once you start observing the breath, then the attention to the thoughts will go off. So because your attention will be more to the breath. So once we did at that point of time, when you are able to reflect, all the goodness in you, all the strength in you, all the potential in you, they will all slowly get manifest. And because that people say, because you visualize and finally manifest. But you will not be visualizing automatically, be because what is being, you deserve at that point of time, they will all be coming out of the sort of potential visuals, and potentially, it will all be getting manifested. So once that there, because that meditative stage, once it happens, it will always be 24 by 7, because you can't be meditative. The meditative stage, as we have seen elsewhere, because the Upanishad itself said it will come and go. Even for the greatest saints, it's not there. They will always be in the meditative stage. The meditative stage come, and they, because like the house, the dust will come. You will have to clean it, because the house is the body is a house. It is capable of getting the dust. The accumulation of the dust will be there. So the accumulation of the dust can be prevented by constantly cleaning it. So by constant cleaning, that is meditation. It's not that I did meditation one day and I don't have to do it for the rest of my life. Because every day something, a lot of cleaning I will have to do. It will like get the accumulated. And that is the process. That is the sadhana. That is why, because the lifetime is there. The lifetime is by more at doing it, because I'm keeping the house clean. And finally, when the house is clean, because I don't mind, even if there is a sun or a storm, if the tsunami or hailstorm or tornadoes, twisters, nothing will, because I am keeping my house in proper. So as long as possible, because I will be able to keep, I will be able to take everything. Because the sun may shine and sun, there could be freeze, there could be cold and all, doesn't matter. Because the house, I will be able to be in the house. It is a home for me, where I will be able to get to the full liberation. And finally, because you are under the that you do not have any unwanted thoughts. You do not want, because you want to sort of during freezer and freezing time, you want the heated, and even the summer, you want to be air conditioned. It's not like that. Without that, you will be able to. You have created the conditions in such a way you will be able to withstand any circumstances, withstand any sort of a climate. So that is the final, the summum bonum of entire these things. Why they have said, because because we'll also see, because the next week, and when we see, because all these things, this particular mantra, Shatam cha ekacha hridayastha nadhyaha tasnam murdhanam abhinihi sthita ekah. And finally, because only Sahasrara through which, it passes through, you get the liberation, rest of it, because you can't think of it, because that is the final aim of it. In the sense, you just allow the thoughts come and go, allow them to flow, but you go through the flow of life. This is what it says, and Taya Urdhvam Ayan Amrtatvam Yeti, because once you is able to go up, because you are going up in dimension, only when you're able to go up, Yeti, Vishwak Anya Utkramanena Bhavanti, the others that have different directions, because they will all dissipate you. You will not be dissipated. You will be part of your core. You will be part of your purpose for which you are created. Then finally you will attain the highest liberation, highest benefit, which is you are, because you are right, and for which you have been brought in. Otherwise, we will be wasting the time. That's what we take. It was more philosophical, but then, because desirelessness has been brought about, because once you understand the benefit of it, till such time you don't understand it, and you think, because indulgence has got its own varieties, you will not be able to take out, because then the Charavaka philosophy will not go. At that point of time, the people thought, what is available in the world, because jab aaye ho, enjoy karo, jao, but that's all, because why are you bothered, because the body is the, you are not the body, or, you are something else and all, because that is the philosophy, that talked about, because at that point of time, the people were totally been, because they were not, the control on them, was so minimal, and the resources were, so few. So everyone wanted to sort of get the, their share of the resources and make the most of it. So all those things have been finally, all the great masters have come and brought the human being, to a stage, where we have come about. The civilization has grown, and finally the humanity has grown and adapted itself to the various climates and circumstances. The benefit of everything has come. Finally, with the same benefit, we are trying to destroy ourselves. How we can avoid that? That's what, because the Upanishad is trying to bring about. And next week we will see, because certain other concepts associated with that. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadidamastu ma vishvidavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So can I ask a small question?
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
I was just now realizing that Sushumna Nadi, see, basically both nostrils
Hmm.
breathe equally.
Yeah.
So when you were saying balanced and all, while I was listening intently, and for all that time, both my nadis were equally this thing. What do you call it? Active.